we're actually this afternoon going to have our first staff meeting since the spring game. So everyone has kind of put their plan together, meet with guys. So and no new news. You saw how they played. I know Coach Day and Coach Meyer are gathering information. They're having their meetings. I know Coach is meeting with every kid this week, we as staff, and everybody's actually going out recruiting tomorrow. It's the first day we're hitting the road. So but it hadn't, as a group, been physically discussed or any final tournaments. They've all had good springs. You saw them. See how we move forward.
Kevin, the cliche that if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, do you buy into that philosophy, or do you think there's too much made of that?
Well, again, you see, how the guys you need more than one typically in this day and age to win. So you better have more than one. So what at most positions, you're looking for 2+ tight ends, 7-8 receivers, 3 tailbacks. You're looking for, everybody wants to say who's the starter, but in reality, in offensive football with tempo and multiple settings, personnel groupings, you're playing a lot of guys, and sometimes a quarterback. You go through the national championship year, how many quarterbacks played? And every year, how many quarterbacks played? Last year, how many quarterbacks played? So you better have more than one. So I've been a part of it. Oklahoma, previous school where you went through battles, and sometimes you had a couple good quarterbacks, and that's tough. At the end of the day, everybody, you need to. What you need is your direction. Sometimes what you need is player development, because sometimes it's hard to develop when I know in years past, one time I tried to be so fair and tried to make everybody happy. I didn't. And because sometimes you can't. So there's a point in time where, as we've now practiced, we've had a great winter. All 3 of those guys have been awesome. I know Ryan, Coach, will get together, make some decisions, continue to move forward. And maybe we're at a point, maybe we're not. I think that's where Coach and Ryan and ourselves are totally trying to figure out, I know we want to get direction, but are you at a point where, you're not playing yet? So we'll just see how it plays out. But fortunately, you saw all 3. I think all 3 are very, very good, and I think we need all 3 to win personally.
Kevin, can you give your situation at Indiana where you had 3 guys that you were juggling, 3 guys that played for you? What did you talked about maybe treating them too fairly or trying to keep them happy? What did you learn from that? How would you?
Well, you're making everybody mad when you try to make everybody happy. Everything I'm saying right now is going to be judged by them. Right. And basically, the way where you put your comma is going to be judged. And do you put an exclamation point? because they're judging everything, and we're to me it was about who got the guy in the end zone. They were all great kids, all that kind of deal, and it's tough. I had a kid. One of them was leaving, and I said, "You don't want to leave." I said, "You got a red shirt. We could red shirt you, stay, and maybe you'll play." Well, then we had an injury to a really good player that just won a Super Bowl that lost half a year. Yeah. He went to school. He got hurt. This kid named Josh Allen showed up, and he never played quarterback. Right. But he did what he felt was best, and I respected what he did. I really think sometimes, though, just being a good teammate and working hard, there's still value in that. Some of those, when Coach Hayes and Coach Brown were coaching, some of those values about come to work every day, and it's hard because we are in an I world, we are in a right now world, we are in an immediacy world. But those guys have been, all 3 of those cats battled and have been good teammates, and we'll see how we come through this thing. So, but I don't know. I respect what Coach Meyer and Coach Lee are doing. I respect what those kids have been doing, and I think it'll be interesting as we move forward. And hopefully, at the end of the day, you do what's best for each kid, and ultimately, we want to do what's best for our program and schools.
Kevin, given what you just said, had doing that, how hard is it to stack talent at the quarterback position in recruiting when only one guy is your starter? Is it more difficult to keep multiple talented quarterbacks happy and here than it is at other positions?
From afar, that's why when I walked in here a year ago, I said I respected J.T. Barrett more than I think a lot of people did. Because from afar, I respected the way he competed in a challenging situation. And didn't know him, never spoke to the guy. I had competed against him, but here's a starting guy and he got hurt. And all of a sudden it's a competition battle, and a couple guys are playing, but just the way he carried himself from afar, there's something about him that I was attracted to. Like I like this young man. I think that's unusual. It's delicate, it's tough, and I don't know. Other than it also is what it is. So you say, can you stack it? It is fragile. It is fragile.
Where do you see?
And you can become very, very marginal. It can be fragile, and that's why at the end of the day, I think the way Coach Meyer and all of us are, we're going to be And I think our kids, I think we're all going to be honest as they move forward together. And I think at the end, when you're transparent and honest, I think everybody can work together and make proper decisions, and individuals move collectively together, not, and the program, and everybody moves forward.
Kevin, but when you're out recruiting right now, the quarterback position, and you walk into a living room, you call a kid, and they see that whoever wins the starting job has 2 more years, then Tate's on the 2 more years after that. I mean, is there more pushback in those conversations than you would find in other positions?
Yeah, but if somebody plays well, you guys will say he's coming out pro early, so then all of a sudden he's back interested. So, you know, it's not in concrete like it used to be. Like, you know, it's just, I mean, it's just so, I wouldn't try to be, I mean, it's evolving. And quite honestly, at the end of the day, to be a great college program and a great college player and to do a heck of a job as a coach, you got to develop kids. And we take a lot of pride in here in developing them. And that position, and Coach Day has done an awesome job the short time I've been with him in developing guys. And sometimes when a guy just keeps coming to work and developing, he has a chance. And when I had Sam Bradford at Oklahoma, and I talked to a GM, I shared this with Ryan yesterday. He knows the GM. And I was talking to Sam, should he come out or come back? In just a conversation, and this general manager said, there's 3 things that are going to happen. He can stay with you and develop, and you're going to have a great team, and that's pretty good. He can come out and hopefully be on a pro team where he can sit behind a really good player and learn and develop. Or if he plays too early, sometimes you throw him to the wolves and he loses his confidence. So one of these 3 things are going to happen. He's going to develop with you. He's going to be at a place where maybe he can develop because he's really still young, where he's going to get thrown out there maybe too quick. And I think that's when you say with these young freshmen, everybody wants to play, sometimes to play with a quality player and watch how that guy practices and trains, the value that JT Barrett brought to all those kids last year in preparation is going to help those guys this year in their whole career. So there's value to being a part of great players. Even though everybody wants their time, there's value to that. And I think you sell that. I think you sell the program, the tradition, the success, and I think collectively, as we go, the individuals get their deal. And the great quarterbacks at the end, somehow they have a way of checking that ego about me, and they want to be the great leader. And that's what really separates, I think, some of those at the very, very end.
Kevin, can you give your assessment on the strengths?
Let's talk about tight ends.
I do want to ask you about tight end, but your assessment of the quarterbacks, their strengths and what they need to work on, what they showed you in the spring.
I'd have Ryan, for example, like right now, my players are getting ready to do a personal study, and Jake Hausman has every play that he played this spring.
Right.
And he's going to be able to watch himself run this play and say, I'm good at this play or not. And then what can I do without football practice to get better this summer at this play? And maybe he can, maybe he can't. Some things without pads and helmets you can't get better at. So I think, you know, they've all got to have better command presence. They've all got to learn how to speak louder and more confidently. But sometimes when you're fighting for a position, it's hard to be a leader. Sometimes when you're fighting to do your job, it's hard to be vocal. So bottom line, we just need time on task, and they need to have great summers.
Hey, Kevin, given what you've said about quarterbacks in general, how do you handle Joe Burrow's position specifically in that he's a guy with options?
Well, and
do you like re-recruit him? I mean, how does that work?
No, I think you're honest. You know, I mean, because, you know, what does recruiting mean? Are you just really presenting the facts? And at the same time, I do think, though, because, again, there's a lot of transparency and honesty, I think those kids, you know, they watch tape together. I think all the coaches will communicate, and they can get a feel of what they need to work on, where they're at, and how it goes. So I think what we're going to do is recruit how good this team's going to be, and we want you to be a part of it.
Hey, Kevin, do you guys...
Help us win.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you guys make personnel decisions based on what it means for the makeup of your roster in general? Like, with the fact that Joe Burrow has been open about thinking about transferring, you know, publicly, have an impact on the way that you guys process things? Would it be different would it be harder to start Tate because you have 2 guys that would consider transferring maybe? How much does, like, the makeup of the roster and the team and the ramifications of things that happen off the field go into this?
I think, first of all, Coach Meyer will make every decision. Truly, I think, one, trying to be honest and fair and truthful, but what he thinks is ultimately best for the program. And I think when you make decisions worried about what the ripple effect could be, I don't know if that's always the best deal. You don't call a play sometimes saying, okay, if this or this or this happens, and have the negative side effect. I think you trust your gut, you trust your instincts, you gather information, and you make your decision, move forward accordingly. To sit here and say, hey, I can only do this because something can happen, I don't think it's the way our kids are.